Hey everybody, it's Ace. Welcome back to another Battlefield 6 video. We are only 18 days away from the launch version of Battlefield 6 and the developers are now putting in what will inevitably be some of the final touches to the game before we get our hands on it. Those touches are including a nerf to the auto region as well as adding a brand new surrender mechanic to Battlefield. Both of these new things I'm gonna cover today in this video in pretty big depth. If you guys are planning to play Battlefield 6 and you want to have an opinion of a real Battlefield player, I'm not sponsored, I'm not paid by EA, I'm your guy. Consider leaving a like, comment and a subscription for future content, and thank you so much for your consideration. During the Battlefield 6 open beta, we had some pretty good health regeneration across the board for all the classes. DICE has considered this health regeneration to be too strong and it has now been nerfed as follows. The health regeneration rate has been slowed down from 20 health per second to 10 health per second. As well, the regeneration time is now longer from 3 to 4 seconds. However, the auto regeneration delay remains unchanged from open beta to 5 seconds. This means it's going to take 5 seconds of you not taking damage, and that's when the regen is going to kick in, so it's going to be unchanged in that department. I was left feeling a bit mixed about this change because I feel it was maybe a knee-jerk reaction. Let me explain myself. If we take a look at the deployment rate per class, we can see that all the classes bar Assault, who because of his gadgets and because of his shotgun was at 32%, were pretty much balanced to one another, at least when it came down to the usage. Now, after the regen was a bit nerfed, and also the classes like Recon, Assault and Engineer receiving nerfs across the board, I predict that the class usage is gonna look now something in the line like this. I predict Assault going down to 20%, as we mentioned earlier. His shotgun got nerfed, his double launchers are gone, he doesn't have the regen anymore that he had during the Battlefield 6 open beta. The only new thing he has to himself is that he stole Recon's spawn beacon and kinda indirectly nerfed Recon. I'm gonna get to Recon in a second. And then of course we have the star of the show, Assault or Support or Medic, whatever it's gonna be called. In the Battlefield 6 launch version, I think will go up to 35%. We just have to acknowledge here that the class that will have the best healing in the game, the class that has a head glitching shield, the class that has unlimited ammunition, the class that now from what I've heard in Battlefield Labs also has smoke launchers, which because he has unlimited ammo means he will have unlimited smoke, will undoubtedly become the strongest class in the game. And here was my question, and this was also my thumbnail: was this really needed for Battlefield 6? Because I was under the impression that Medic still having 26% and defeating Engineer at 23% and Recon at 90% respectively, even though those classes had crazy gadgets. In Recon's case, he had unlimited freaking C4 and Medic still defeated him, and now those classes receive some pretty huge nerfs to themselves as well. Now they added this regen nerf to those classes, which means they need to heal more often, which is also of course a good thing. They're gonna have to team play with support, but we're not talking about team play here, we're just talking about class balance dispersion. Support is gonna definitely be the most played character in Battlefield 6, which means that Battlefield 6 is gonna be in line with Battlefield 3 and BF4, where Medic was the most played classes and basically shat all over the other classes. I'm not sure how I feel about this, and I mentioned earlier I feel like maybe the regen nerf, although perhaps maybe needed, was a knee-jerk reaction because, hey, support never got nerfed once during the open beta, he never got nerfed once in Battlefield Labs. He is the exact same support we had in the open beta. You have to remember this game has open weapon system. Yes, I know there is also a closed weapon playlist, but let's be honest here, the open weapon system is going to be the main playlist, and support is now, in my opinion, going to fully dominate that playlist. If this turns out to be this way and Medic just becomes completely overpowered, here is my solution to all that while keeping the integrity of Battlefield 6 pretty much intact. Split Medic and Support into two classes. Bring back the Support from all the other Battlefield games, and then you can either remove the Assault class, put back the beacon on the Recon, or you can include 5 classes in Battlefield 6. I also don't see a reason why we wouldn't have 5 classes either. I don't think any of those solutions would really harm Battlefield 6 gameplay flow. Something which could harm gameplay flow is this new Mercy ending of the match mechanic, which is coming to Conquest mode apparently. So the way it works, it's a mode which features a pop-up timer to show mercy to the losing team if all flags are kept by the enemy team. If your team is unable to capture a flag before the timer ends, they'll automatically lose the match to prevent being spawn trapped endlessly. DICE has also added a new messages when a team is about to win or lose the match. So you can see it right there, critical mission failure. They only have 12 seconds left to capture a flag or the match just ends. What I want to point your attention to is look at how many tickets the enemy team has. This thing is already activating while, you know, they only lost like 100 tickets. I really hope this timer just doesn't randomly activate as we begin a match and it just ends because we lost all the flags temporarily. I really don't like this mechanic, I have to say, at least not if it activates so soon. I understand why they're doing this. They just want to prevent people from leaving lobbies if their team is just getting spawn trapped endlessly, like they used to, for example. You know, in Battlefield 3, I myself was guilty of spawn trapping people with tank on Firestorm, on Sena Crossing, and all the other crazy maps you could do with tank. I don't understand why they're doing this, you know, they just want to keep people playing and not just going back in queue and finding a new match. However, I had some pretty good comeback matches in BF3 and BF4, even in BF1 when we were playing fully from behind and we lost all the flags. So I think this is going to be something that might impact gameplay flow. You know, it's kind of interesting. I feel like the old DICE from 2017 to 2019 solved this brilliantly with their Star Wars Battlefront 2 title. If you ever played that game, and its Supremacy mode, which is basically the Titan mode from Battlefield 2142. If you haven't, let me just very fast explain to you how it worked and why they solved this, you know, endless spawn trapping. So if you lost on the ground, basically you played Conquest on the ground, and if you lost all the flags, you basically kinda soft lost the match. What happened then is you would teleport up to the capital ships which are flying above the map, and there you had a chance to defend your ship. Were you successful in defending that ship, this means you would teleport back on the ground and have another battle of conquest, basically starting with, again, all of your flags lost, but you had a chance to turn the match around. This was kind of their big comeback mechanic in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I feel like maybe something of that sort could have been considered for Battlefield 6 as well. But who knows, they still have over 2 weeks time to change this mechanic if it's really impacting the matches of Battlefield 6 in a very negative fashion. If you aren't aware, the Battlefield labs are taking place much more often than it used to back in the past, like in February and March. However, I will also say that Battlefield Lab seems to be mostly focused on the BF6 PR right now, maybe potential taking some time that they could have invested in the multiplayer. And we also, of course, have the leaks that the Battlefield Battle Royale is coming only 1 week after Battlefield 6 multiplayer launch, so I'm pretty sure they also want to make sure that the Battlefield 6 Battle Royale, for which we didn't have any type of open beta, is properly tested, you know, and that the mode fully works in tandem with the multiplayer, because it will be pretty catastrophic for the company if they release, you know, a solidly polished multiplayer and then 1 week after they have some broken ass BR. But from what I've seen from the leaks of the BR, it seems to be, you know, polished to as much as it can be polished, really. So that's gonna be the video for today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, then please leave a like and a comment. There's been changes to the YouTube system. Apparently the ad blocked views are not being counted or something funky is going on. So I have been getting less likes and comments because of this, and less subscriptions. I would really appreciate if you are a regular sub here to help me out. It's been fucking brutal in the algorithm over the past couple of weeks at this point. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see you boys in the next Battlefield video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.